The police, courts, lawyers, social workers, doctors, and other professionals must take a comprehensive and child-centered approach when seeking justice through the experience of a child who has been subjected to or witnessed violence, exploitation, and abuse. An approach that is centered in the best interest of children is the one that can ensure that the totality of their rights is upheld during these traumatic events, and that the testimony of the child can be successfully included in court proceedings. These principles of children's rights and justice are at the heart of the Barnhouse model and other similar services. Uniting all relevant services under one roof provide a coordinated, effective, and compassionate response when children have been exposed to violence, abuse, and exploitation. When implemented well, this model gives hope to child survivors and witnesses of violence and aligns with the principle of the United Nations Convention on the Right of the Child, including the best interest of children, as I said, but also the right of the child to be heard in judicial and other proceedings that affect other rights. The right, for instance, to life, survival, development, as well as the right to protection from all forms of violence. I'm delighted and also honored to have with us a prominent member of the Committee on the Rights of the Child and the founder of the first Barnhouse in Europe, Mr. Bragi Gudbranson. We are really honored to have you with us. Thank you. Barnhouse is aligned with the Council of Europe Convention on the Protection of Children from Sexual Abuse and Exploitation to the Lanzarote Convention, and my colleague Regina will talk about that more. Moreover, for countries pursuing EU accession, as has been mentioned by the Deputy Prime Minister, bringing their system in line with EU acquis, especially in relation to the rule of law, victim protection, and child-friendly justice, is a fundamental for the 23rd chapter of the EU accession acquis. At the heart of the Barnhouse model lies our dedication to ensuring that every child, survivor of violence, is supported with a safe and child-friendly environment. Unfortunately, violence against children is widespread, and we continue to see data and tragic evidence on the rise. More than half of children living in countries across Central and Eastern Europe and also Central Asia have experienced physical or psychological punishment at home. Almost 7% of women in Europe reported having been victims of sexual abuse in childhood. And access to digital technology is not making the life of children easier. They make them very often more vulnerable to sexual abuse and exploitation if risk mitigation measures are not put in place timely. UNICEF research in 12 countries found that 1 in 5 children using internet suffered sexual exploitation and abuse in the past year. Again, as I said, tragic evidence, and I know that many of you are working to remediate on that and make sure that children go back to the happiness, the peace, and the protection they deserve. Since December 2023, UNICEF Regional Office for Europe and Central Asia has been meticulously documented the journey of adapting the Barnhouse model and similar services in 6 countries: Albania, Armenia, Bulgaria, Georgia, the Republic of Moldova, and Ukraine. These efforts aim to assess progress, celebrate achievement, but also identify challenges and draw lessons from each unique context. Our role as UNICEF, in partnership with national stakeholders, is to offer international expertise within national and local context, maintaining the core standard in the design and the rollout, but also facilitate learning and exchange. While Barnhouse standards are rooted in international child rights, how a country implements them is rooted in the standard, in the context, and in the culture of each of the country. From the experience so far, we see very clearly that adaptation to each country's system is crucial to success. Across the 6 countries where UNICEF concluded the documentation exercise, we found some variation and some adaptation. So we continue to learn from the evolving nature of the model, as well as the diverse needs that it serves. This evolution underscored the importance, as I mentioned, of learning from each other's experiences. So once again, thank you to Montenegro to allowing this exchange of experience during these days. This important work and effort are high on the political agenda of government, and we are delighted to have a representation from 26 countries across Europe and Central Asia with us today in Podgorica. I understand that some of them will arrive a bit late because they are stuck at the airport in Istanbul, but don't worry, you will see a much bigger crowd and very good exchanges will come through the day. UNICEF stands ready alongside, of course, each one of you to learn, to adapt, and to continue to innovate. Our collective endeavor goes beyond establishing services. It's about weaving a fabric of protection, of care, of justice that reach every child, leaving no one behind. In many of your respective countries, we are already working with the government to establish Barnaus and similar services. Together, we have established 2 centers in Albania, 1 in Moldova, with 2 more in development, 4 in Bulgaria, 1 in Georgia, with 2 more under development. And in Ukraine, 10 Barnaus centers have been opened in an effort to address the rising number of children who unfortunately have witnessed or experienced different forms of violences, including children evacuated from the war zone and children that we are helping to repatriate from hosting country and going back to Ukraine. In many other countries, we are working based on the same principle of the Barnaus model to ensure coordinated and integrated efforts to protect child survivors of violence. Montenegro's commitment to child protection, demonstrated by the ratification of key international treaties, as has been mentioned by the Deputy Prime Minister, and the integration of this principle into national laws and policy is commendable. We look forward to continue to work with you on the acceleration of their implementation. UNICEF values and the strong political and strategic support from the European Union delegation for accessible and child-friendly justice in Montenegro is critical. So thank you, dear Ambassador Roana, for being with us today. Together with the Council of Europe, we are committed to assisting Montenegro in eradicating child violence, including establishing a Barnaus service. Thank you, Regina, and colleague from the Council of Europe team here with us. This conference is clearly a significant step toward realizing child-friendly standards and bringing the Barnaus service to fruition, ensuring a secure and protected future to every child and for every child in Montenegro. I'm delighted to be with the strong partners here around the table. Hosting this conference with Council of Europe highlights our shared dedication to advancing child protection and justice for children. The challenges are immense and we can never do things alone, but we need the partnership to be able to deliver and accelerate and scale results. The strong support and participation of the EU and Sweden, alongside the Committee on the Right of the Child, reaffirm international support to these efforts. UNICEF is looking forward to strengthening this partnership, driving even more stronger, more effective initiative to protect children across Europe and Central Asia. Thank you.